and welcome to Using Windows. You know, Windows is a graphic front end for your computer using the MS-DOS operating system, which of course runs your computer. Now, translated, this means using Windows makes working with your computer easier, because Windows uses graphics to replace many of the cryptic DOS commands. If you're the least bit familiar with DOS, you know that executing DOS commands requires a special language. The letters, symbols, and spacing of DOS commands must be exact. And that means a lot of memorization or referring to DOS manuals. Windows gives us a better method for managing files and executing computer commands. You see, the commands are displayed on the computer screen, so there's no guessing about the correct syntax to enter. But Windows is more than an interface to your operating system. It also contains an array of software applications designed to work within its special graphics environment. This graphics-based environment, also called a graphic user interface, takes the complexity out of learning and executing almost all of your computer's commands. Windows uses computer pictures called icons to represent an electronic desktop. Lists of tasks, including DOS commands, are displayed in menus. With the tasks and tools displayed on the screen, choosing the appropriate command is simple. In addition, Windows comes with the ability to work with several different programs at one time. Just as its name implies, Windows lets you open multiple screens or windows. Each window can display a different file or a different program. This means you don't have to stop one application and start another as you move from one application to another. Instead, the windows are kept open on the electronic desktop, enabling us to skip back and forth as needed. Windows' on-screen desktop guides you through your everyday work, such as copying and deleting files. In addition to DOS commands, Windows comes with an array of desktop accessories such as a clock, an appointment calendar, a calculator, and a notepad. A word processing and a graphics drawing application are also part of Windows. We've arranged this video program into chapters. Set your VCR counter at the beginning of this tape. As we begin each new chapter, jot down the counter number. This makes it easier to find certain chapters for a quick review later. Now, here's a quick overview of what we'll be covering. Chapter 1. Starting Windows, MS-DOS Executive, and Basic Screen Tools. Chapter 2. Sizing, minimizing, maximizing, restoring, and closing windows. Chapter 3. MS-DOS Executive Menu Commands. Chapter 4. Windows versus Standard Applications, Windows Memory Management System, the Calculator and Calendar Applications. Chapter 5. The Cardfile and Terminal Applications. Chapter 6. The Notepad and Clipboard Applications and the Spooler. Chapter 7. The Microsoft Write Word Processing Application. Chapter 8. The Microsoft Paint Application and Merging Text and Graphics. Chapter 9. Customizing Windows with the Control Panel application and WIN.INI file. Chapter 10. Running standard applications under Windows. Okay. Let's Windows and look at the MS-DOS Executive window. We'll go over the basic screen tools of all the Windows applications. Windows is already loaded on my hard drive. A subdirectory called Windows was created during installation that stores the program files. For step-by-step instructions on installing Windows, check the Logic Notes guidebook that accompanied this videotape. We'll assume that you understand the basics of directories, file names, and disk drives. For more information, refer to the VideoLogic program entitled Using MS-DOS. To move to the Windows subdirectory, type cd/Windows at the DOS prompt. Now, to start Windows, type WIN and press the Enter key. MS-DOS Executive, the main command post of Windows, appears. This is the place from which other Windows applications are started. Just about any command in Windows can be performed by using either a mouse or the keyboard. In this program, we'll use a mouse to run Windows and explain the keyboard steps as we progress. Inside the MS-DOS executive window is a listing of the files and subdirectories in the Windows directory on the C drive. The subdirectories are listed at the top, followed by the files in alphabetical order. Above the listing are icons for each of the disk drives on the computer system. The icon for the current drive is highlighted. To change the drive, point the mouse arrow to the appropriate icon and click the left mouse button. This makes the selected drive the current or logged on drive. Always press the left mouse button unless otherwise indicated. To change the logged on drive using the keyboard, hold down the Control key and press the letter of the drive whose icon you want to highlight. To switch to a subdirectory within the Windows directory, point to the directory name and double-click the mouse button. With the keyboard, use the arrow direction keys to highlight the directory and press the Enter key. Pressing the first letter of the directory name will also highlight it, and then we can press Enter. To the right of the drive icons is the path name of the current directory. The drive letter, the volume label, and the directory are all displayed. If there is a parent directory, it will appear in the path name. To move to the parent directory, double-click on the directory name in the path name. To move to the root directory, double-click on the first backslash. With the keyboard, just press the backspace key. To return to the Windows subdirectory, double-click on that directory name. With the keyboard, press W to highlight the directory name. Then press the Enter key. Certain screen tools are used in all Windows applications, making it easy to learn and use Windows. At the very top is the title bar. The title bar displays the name of the application. Immediately below the title bar is the menu bar. To open a menu using a mouse, click on a menu title. A menu which lists commands or options drops down. To open a menu with the keyboard, press the Alt key. Notice the file menu title is highlighted. To select it, press the Enter key or the underlined letter F. To select another menu, just press the underlined letter in the menu title. The drop-down menus appear by clicking on the different menu titles or by pressing the left and right arrow keys. Just below the menu bar is the work area. The bottom part of the screen is the icon area. This area is empty now, but as we open other applications, you'll see how the icon area is used. In Chapter 2, we'll cover the commands of the control menu to size, minimize, maximize, restore, and close application windows. Windows lets us keep several applications open simultaneously. Let's start the clock application to illustrate the steps for operating several windows. Double-click on the file name clock.exe in the MS-DOS executive listing. The clock application window appears on top of the MS-DOS executive window. The clock application reads your computer's internal clock and reports the current time of day. Notice the title bar of the clock is colored. This indicates the clock is now the active window. This means the commands and functions of the MS-DOS executive window are inactive. Let's adjust the size and positioning of these windows. Depending on whether you're using a mouse or the keyboard, the methods for adjusting the windows are different. In the upper left corner of the clock window is the control menu icon. Every application, including MS-DOS Executive, has a control menu. The control menu commands affect the status of the window. To open the control menu, click on the icon. Using the keyboard, press and hold the Alt key, and then tap the spacebar. We'll move the clock using the Move menu option. The letter M is underlined in the menu. Press M to activate the Move command. A four-headed arrow appears at the top. We'll use the arrow keys to move the window. When the window is positioned where you want, press the Enter key. To move a window with a mouse, point to the clock title bar. Hold down the mouse button, drag the window to its new position, and release the mouse button. When using a mouse, you don't have to open the control menu. Clicking anywhere inside the MS-DOS executive window makes it the active window, and the clock window disappears. The active window is always on top. The MS-DOS executive window is covering the clock window. Just click the pointer inside of the window you want to be active. Hold down the Alt key and press the Escape key to change active windows using the keyboard. We'll make the MS-DOS executive window smaller to allow room for the additional window. Open the control menu and press S for the size option. The size is changed by compressing one of the four window borders. We'll move the left border to the right. Press the left arrow key and a two-headed arrow is displayed. Now we'll press the right arrow key until the border is positioned where we want it. Press the Enter key to complete the resizing. To size boxes with a mouse, position the pointer on a border or on a corner to move two borders at once. When the pointer changes to a two-headed arrow, we'll drag the border to its new position. Now we can see both the clock and MS-DOS Executive on the screen. Leaving an application is called minimizing the application. This is not the same as closing it. Leaving or minimizing an application means we're simply setting it aside while we work with other applications. Select Minimize from the menu. The MS-DOS Executive window collapses into a small icon displayed in the icon area. Windows uses the icon area at the bottom of the screen as a holding area for applications that have been minimized or set aside temporarily. Each application has its own distinct icon. The MS-DOS Executive icon looks like a small floppy disk. These icons simplify your work. Instead of having to restart an application each time, we can click on the icon to open the application window. To restore an icon or a window using the keyboard, activate the icon by pressing Alt and the Escape key. The window name will appear on the icon. Then, press Alt and the spacebar to open the control menu. And select R for Restore. The MS-DOS Executive window is restored to its previous size and location. Now, let's minimize the clock using the mouse. Notice the up and down arrows in the upper right corner. These are the sizing icons. Click on the down arrow to minimize a window. The clock continues to display the correct time even when it's been reduced to an icon. Since it doesn't take up much computer memory, it's a very useful tool to display on the screen. To restore the clock to its previous position, we'll double-click on the clock icon. Maximizing a window enlarges it to fill the entire screen. Open the control menu and press X for maximize. The MS-DOS Executive window completely fills the screen. To restore a maximized window to its former size, open the control menu again and press R. With a mouse, maximize a window by clicking on the up arrow or maximize sizing icon. Notice the maximized window now has a sizing icon with two arrows pointing up and down. Clicking here restores the maximized window to its former size. The last command on the control menu is the Close command. This command closes an application and frees up the memory. To close the clock window, we'll open the control menu and press C. But notice the Alt plus F4 key combination to the right of the Close command. This is a keyboard shortcut. To quickly close a window, press the Alt key and F4. This is a shortcut because you don't have to display the menu to choose a command. Each control menu command has a keyboard shortcut. Memorizing these keyboard shortcuts can help you move faster through windows. To close a window using a mouse, double-click on the control menu icon. Closing MS-DOS Executive would end the Windows session. MS-DOS Executive is the main command post of Windows and has to be open to run the other applications. In Chapter 3, we'll review the MS-DOS Executive menu commands. The MS-DOS Executive menu provides commands for DOS operations, like copying files, making directories, and formatting disks. First, let's look at the File menu. The Run command loads an application into memory and starts it. The Run option displays a dialog box asking for the file name of the application to be run. Whenever a dialog box is displayed, it means more information is needed to execute the command. We'll type in clipboard.exe. Notice the option for minimizing MS-DOS Executive. This minimizes the MS-DOS Executive window when the next application is started. Click on the box, or use the Tab key to move to the box and press the spacebar to insert an X. Now, click on the OK button, and the Clipboard application appears on the screen. The Load command works just like the Run command, except the application loads as an icon instead of an open window. The Copy command copies files to a different directory or disk, or makes a copy with a different name in the same directory. This works like the DOS copy command, except that several files can be copied in a single step. To copy several files, press the first letter of the first file to highlight it. Next, hold down the Control key and press the down arrow until the next file you want is enclosed within a dotted box. Press the spacebar to highlight that file. Continue this process until all of the files to be copied are highlighted. Then, release the Control key and select the Copy command from the Control menu. This brings up a dialog box listing the highlighted files and asking where to copy the files. We'll enter A: for the A drive and click OK. Let's highlight another file. From the File menu, we'll select the Get Info command. A dialog box appears displaying the file name and extension, its size in bytes, and the date and time the file was created or most recently altered. To remove the box, click twice on the Control menu icon or press the Escape key. The Delete command deletes a selected file or group of files. Again, you can select multiple files using the Control key and highlighting the file names. The Print command prints ASCII text files. These are files with no special characters or formatting. We can also print out a copy of the listing in the MS-DOS Executive window. To change the name of a selected file or files, use the Rename command. The Exit command is like the Close command in the Control menu. Both close MS-DOS Executive and end the Windows session. A message appears asking for confirmation to close MS-DOS Executive. Click on the last command about MS-DOS Exec. Here, we'll find the version number and copyright information. This box also tells us how much disk space and memory is available. Let's move to the View menu. This menu controls the way the file listings are displayed. The View menu has 3 sections. We can choose one option from each. The check mark indicates the current view. The short command displays the files and directories the way you see them here, in short form, with only the names and extensions listed. The short view is the default view when Windows is first started. Click on the Long command, and the file size, date, and time the file was last saved are added to the listing. Directories are designated by a dir symbol. The all command is currently checked. This means all files appear in the listing. The partial command lets us specify a group of files. Type *.com in the dialog box and click OK. Now only the files with the .com extension appear in the listing. The Programs command displays files with the extensions .com, .bat, and .exe. These are file extensions used for program files. The By Name option is checked. This arranges the file names in alphabetical order. The By Date option arranges the files by the date and time. The newest files are displayed first. By Size arranges the files according to their size, from largest to smallest. By Kind groups the files according to their extensions in alphabetical order. For example, the .bat files are listed before the .com files. Next is the Special menu. The first command, End Session, is yet another way to end the Windows session. Click on the Create Directory, enter a new directory name, and click OK. The new directory appears in the listing. To change to this new directory, select the Change Directory command. Enter the directory name and click OK. There isn't a listing yet because no files have been stored in this directory. The Format command formats a disk. We just enter the drive and click OK. The Make System Disk command transfers MS-DOS system files to a formatted disk. The last command, Set Volume Name, lets us assign a volume name to a hard or floppy disk. As we learn about the other applications, you'll notice many of the menu commands will have a similar function. This makes learning applications much easier. In Chapter 4, we'll cover Windows applications versus standard applications, examine Windows Memory Management System, then look at the calculator and calendar programs. Windows classifies applications into two categories: standard applications and Windows applications. Standard applications are designed to run under the DOS environment. Lotus 1-2-3 and WordPerfect are examples. Windows applications are designed to take advantage of the special features of the Windows environment. All of the applications that came with the Windows software are Windows applications. Windows applications work with a unique memory management system that allows several applications to be open at one time. Windows Mini applications like the clock and calendar take up little memory space, so running several of these at the same time is no problem. Other Windows applications like Microsoft Write and Microsoft Paint require more memory space. Running these two at the same time would be impossible without Windows Special Memory Management. When there's not enough memory for all the applications, Windows decides which parts of the application currently are being used and thus require memory. Windows then places the unneeded parts on a portion of the hard drive. This becomes a swap space for switching needed parts of the application in and out of the memory. This swap space is called the virtual memory. Virtual memory allows Windows to run several applications at the same time. Remember, before starting any application, MS-DOS Executive must be opened. To start the calculator application, double-click on the file named calc.exe. The calculator pops on the screen. This handles basic arithmetic functions, including square roots and percentages. Remember, when an application is first opened, it is always the active window. To use the calculator with a mouse, just click on the numbers and mathematical symbols, or you can enter the numbers and symbols directly from the keyboard. The numbers are displayed in the box at the top. The Edit menu lets us exchange data between applications. The Copy command copies the numbers in the display area for use in another application. The copy is placed on the clipboard. The paste command brings in a figure from the clipboard. We'll clear the calculator and select the paste option. The total on the clipboard is pasted back into the calculator. Before opening the calendar program, let's minimize the calculator window. Now, MS-DOS Executive is active, and we can just double-click on the file named calendar.exe. The calendar application is like a desktop calendar and appointment book. It's great for scheduling appointments and reminding yourself of important deadlines. Calendar opens to a screen resembling a page out of an appointment book. The current date and time are displayed at the top. The blinking line next to 8 o'clock is the insertion point. This indicates where text will be entered. We'll click next to 9 o'clock to move the insertion point to this bar. To move the insertion point with the keyboard, press the Tab key. Now, we'll type Meeting. To include some notes about the meeting, we'll click in the Scratch Pad. With the keyboard, press the Tab key until you're in the Scratch Pad. To leave the Scratch Pad, click in the Main area or the Tab key again. Let's open the File menu. The New command opens a new calendar file. The Open command opens a previously created calendar file. The Save and Save As commands save a calendar file. The Print command makes a printout of appointments. The Remove command removes a range of dates from the computer's memory. This is a quick way to remove old information and keep plenty of room on the computer's disk for new dates. Just like their counterparts in the calculator application, the Exit command quits Calendar, and About Calendar displays program information. Calendar's Edit menu has familiar commands: Cut, Copy, and Paste. We can use the Cut command to move a rescheduled appointment to the clipboard and the Paste command to re-enter it in another date. All these commands are light gray now because the clipboard is empty. The View menu switches the screen view between a single day, as we're seeing here, or a whole month. Appointments are only displayed in the Day view. When you first open Calendar, it will be in the Day view. The Show menu lets us move to different dates for entering appointments. The Today command returns us to the current day or month, depending on which view we're in. The Previous command takes us to the previous day or month. The Next command takes us to the following day or month. The Date command takes us to a specific date. We just enter the date in the dialog box, click OK, and we're there. We can also use Calendar to set an alarm as a reminder for the 9 o'clock meeting. Move the insertion point to 9 o'clock, and from the Alarm menu, select the Set command. A small bell icon appears indicating the alarm is set. The Options menu has commands to customize the calendar. The Mark command places a small box around selected days in the calendar view. The Special Time command lets us enter an appointment time not listed on the calendar, like 12:20. The Day Settings command changes the time intervals on the calendar window. The default setting is 60-minute intervals. Clicking on the desired circle would change this setting. 12 is the default hour format. 24 is also an option. The starting time interval can also be changed. Let's save our calendar file. Since this file hasn't been named yet, we'll use the Save As command in the File menu. Name the calendar file something you'll recognize, such as MyCal, and then click OK. Let's minimize the calendar. Notice that our newly saved calendar file appears in the MS-DOS executive listing. Next time, we can just double-click on this file name to open our calendar. In Chapter 5, we'll look at the Cardfile and terminal applications. The Cardfile application works like an index card filing system. Information is entered on each card, and Windows files the cards in alphabetical order. The information on the cards can then be merged, sorted, and even printed. Click once on the file named Cardfile.exe. Then, click on the Run command in the File menu. The file name appears in the box. The Cardfile window displays a blank card with a double line across the top. This line is the index line. Cardfile uses the information entered in the index line to file the cards alphabetically. Click on the File menu. The commands New, Open, Save, and Save As are the same commands found in most of the other Windows applications. We'll click on Open to open a previously created card file. A dialog box appears asking for the name of the card file to be opened. All card files have a .crd file extension. The path line tells Windows where to look for the file. Windows is currently looking in the Windows subdirectory. If the card file was on a floppy disk in the A drive, we would click on the A in the list box. The path line reads A:, telling Windows to look for the card file in the A drive. With a keyboard, press the Tab key to move around in the dialog box. Let's click on C, and here's the file. Double-click on the file name, and it opens. The cards are filled with information. The last name is listed first in the index line so that cards will be alphabetized by last names. All the information needed can be entered on these cards. Let's click on the File menu. The Print command prints only the card at the front of the file. The Print All command prints all the cards in an entire file. The Merge command combines two cards and sorts the results. The last two commands, Exit and About Card File, are also familiar. In the Edit menu, the Undo command lets us undo the last action or command. For instance, if text is accidentally deleted, click Undo and it will reappear. We've seen how cut, paste, and copy work. Remember, cut removes the text and places it in the clipboard. Copy leaves the text and places a copy of it in the clipboard. The Index command is used to add or change text on the index line of the card. The Restore command restores the front card to its last saved version, in case you make a change you're not happy with. Text and pictures can be placed on the cards. The Text option is the default setting. To add a picture, click on the Picture option. An example of this could be scanned pictures of employees in a personnel card file. The View menu changes the way the information appears on the screen. The Cards option is the default setting. The List view displays a list of the information on the index lines. To add another card, we'll select Add from the Card menu. A blank card appears on top. The blinking line indicates we're ready to enter information. Double-click in the index line, and now we can enter information here. With a keyboard, select the Index command from the Edit menu. Back in the Card menu, the Delete command deletes the card at the front of the file. The Duplicate command makes a copy of the front card. If you have a modem hooked up to your computer, you can use the Auto Dial command to dial the phone number listed on the front card. The Search menu lets us search through the cards and information. The Go To command locates a specific card. Type the name on the index line of the card to be located and click OK. The card moves to the front. The Find command searches for text in the body of the cards. Type the text to be found in the dialog box. Cardfile finds the text and highlights it. The Find Next command will find the next occurrence of the specified information. Every open application takes up memory. It's a good idea to close applications that won't be used again that day. Double-clicking on the control menu icon is a quick way to close a window. Terminal is a communications application to connect your computer to other computers, or to online information services such as stock reports and library services. Using a modem, information can be exchanged between a variety of user terminals and communication networks. A modem sends and receives information over the telephone wire. A modem is connected to your computer and telephone. There are many communication networks and online services. You can even send a Western Union telegraph. Operating the terminal application depends on the service you subscribe to and the type of modem you have. The operating manual for your modem contains information you'll need to run the terminal application. To open Terminal, double-click on the file terminal.exe in the MS-DOS executive window. The terminal window has the standard menu bar, and the work area is blank. Many of the commands in the File and Edit menus are consistent with other Windows applications. The files set up and saved in Terminal contain the communication settings for the services. The New command opens a new terminal file, and Open opens an existing terminal file. To save terminal settings, use the Save or Save As command. The Edit menu lets us copy and paste. Use the Copy command to copy selected text from the online services into the clipboard. The information can then be pasted into the Write program for use in a report. The Paste command places text from the clipboard into Terminal. To send out a message or information, it's a good idea to create the text beforehand, copy it to the clipboard, and then paste it into the Terminal. This way, you're not paying for connect time while entering information. Next is the Session menu. The Connect command makes the actual connection. Choosing Connect instructs the modem to dial the telephone number of the desired service and make the connection. A check appears before Connect during the connection. To disconnect, select the Connect command again, and the check disappears. The Print command sends incoming information to the printer at the same time it appears on the screen. To stop printing, choose Print again. Use the Capture command to save incoming information on disk at the same time it appears on the screen. Information will scroll on your screen. A buffer or temporary holding area stores a certain amount of information that has already scrolled off the screen. The Pause command temporarily stops the scrolling and allows us to move up and view the information in the buffer. Select Pause again to resume receiving data. To interrupt a program, use the Break command. Before we can connect, we need to specify the type of hardware we're using and the communication parameters of the receiving system. Save the terminal settings as a file to make connecting to a service in the future easier. Windows adds the .trm extension when you save a terminal file. The first command in the Configure menu is the Terminal command. We enter the terminal settings of the remote system in this dialog box. Default settings are highlighted in the box, but always consult the service's user guide for the exact information. The default for the buffer size is 50 lines. That means 50 lines above the lines displayed on the screen will be kept in the memory. As more lines scroll on the screen, the oldest lines are dumped from the buffer. We can specify any number of lines from 25 to 299. Just click in the box to move the insertion point and enter the new number. With a keyboard, press the Tab key to move the insertion point to the buffer box. The Communication command displays a dialog box asking for specific settings to transmit the data. The baud rate is the speed at which the information is transferred. This depends on the baud rate of your modem. Word length, parity, stop bits, and handshake depend on the service you're connecting to. If you're using a telephone to exchange data, use the modem setting. If you're wired directly to another computer, choose the computer setting. The port setting tells Terminal which port the modem is connected to. The phone command lets us set up phone settings so that Terminal automatically dials the specified number. We'll select Close from the control menu to close our terminal session. In Chapter 6, we'll look at the Notepad and Clipboard applications. We'll also look at the printing application called Spooler. Notepad is a simple word processing application for creating and editing small text files. Notepad doesn't have the features of advanced word processing programs, but it's great for creating notes, short letters, and memos. Notepad produces plain, unformatted ASCII text files that can be imported into virtually any other word processing program. Open Notepad from the MS-DOS executive window. The commands in the File menu are all pretty recognizable by now. Click on Open to open a previously saved file. The Open dialog box appears listing the text files in the current path. Notepad adds the extension .txt. Windows assigns specific file extensions to the files you create. For example, calendar files have a .cal extension, and Notepad files have a .txt extension. When opening files, Windows lists the files with the correct extension for that application. This way, the calendar files aren't mixed in with the terminal files. Here's our file. We'll click on the file name and OK, and the text file appears on the screen. The blinking line or cursor appears at the top of the text file. Press the up and down arrow keys to move the cursor up or down one line. Press the left and right arrow keys to move one space to the left or right. To quickly jump to the end of the text, hold down the Control key and press the End key. To move the cursor to the beginning of the text, hold down the Control key and press the Home key. We'll add some finishing lines to our memo. To fix a typo, press the backspace key to delete the character to the left of the cursor. To fix a misspelling in an earlier line, we'll use the arrow keys to move the cursor to the trouble spot. Press the delete key to delete characters in front of the cursor, and then type in the correct spelling. To delete a block of text, hold down the Shift key and press the right arrow key to select the text block. Then, press the delete key and the text is gone. The first command in the Edit menu is Undo. By selecting Undo, the last command is canceled and the deleted text is back on the screen. This is great when something is accidentally deleted. We'll copy the top part of this memo to the clipboard. First, we need to select the text to be copied. The cursor is at the top, so we'll hold down the Shift key and press the down arrow key to quickly select a whole line at a time. Now, select the Copy option from the Edit menu, and the text is copied to the clipboard. Another way to delete selected text is with the Clear command. After the text is selected, click on Clear and the text is gone. Select All selects all the text in the file. This is useful if an entire file is to be copied to the clipboard. Choosing the Time Date command inserts the time and date into your note at the cursor position. The Word Wrap command will automatically start a new line when the text reaches the right margin. While many text processing programs have automatic word wrap, with Notepad you must select the Word Wrap command to activate this feature. A check appears before the Word Wrap command when it is turned on. The Search menu lets us search for certain words in a file. Click on the Find command. In this dialog box, we'll tell Notepad to search for the word Company. Now, click OK, and the first occurrence of the word is highlighted. From here, we could edit or delete the word. To find the next occurrence, select the Find Next command. We'll continue selecting Find Next until every occurrence of the word has been highlighted. Some text files are too large to be viewed in whole on the screen. we can use the page up and page down keys to move different parts of the text file into view. With a mouse, the scroll bar on the right lets us scroll through the text file. A Notepad file is limited to about 8 pages. A warning message will appear if this limit is exceeded. If this happens, a large text file can be pasted into the Microsoft Write application and finished there. Now, let's open the Clipboard application. First, we'll maximize the MS-DOS executive. Then, double-click on Clipboard.exe. The Clipboard window opens as the active window on top of Notepad, and the text copied from the memo is displayed. Clipboard is a method for data exchange between all Windows applications. As you've seen by now, nearly all of the applications have the cut, copy, and paste commands. All you do is cut or copy the text or graphic from the first Windows applications and then paste it into the second application. This is another advantage of using Windows applications. In contrast, transferring data across standard applications can be difficult because of different user interfaces and file formats. The information placed in the Clipboard application remains there until something else is put in its place or the Windows session is closed. The word text appears below the title bar, indicating the type of information stored in the Clipboard. Let's close Clipboard. Remember, the information will remain even if the window is closed. Now, the Notepad application is the active window. We'll print the memo to activate the spooler. The spooler is a place that Windows reserves in memory for documents to be printed. The spooler icon appears at the bottom as the file is sent to the spooler. Several files can be sent to the spooler for printing. We can look at the printing queue in the spooler window. The menu command lets us terminate, pause, and resume printing tasks. The priority menu lets us specify how fast we want to print. The spooler application is almost like having two computers, because after the printing information is sent to the spooler, you can continue to work in another application. In Chapter 7, we'll look at the Microsoft Write word processing application. Microsoft Write is a word processing application similar in many ways to Notepad, but offering features of more advanced word processing programs. Because Write runs under Windows graphic-based environment, Write displays your document on screen exactly as it will look when printed. Different typefaces and sizes will show on the screen, giving you added design capabilities. Write's opening screen contains the same tools of many Windows applications: the title bar, scroll bar, and sizing icons. The marker at the top of the work area indicates the end of a document. The blinking line is the insertion point or cursor. The lower left corner displays the page number. The first 5 commands on the File menu, New, Open, Save, Save As, and Print, are similar to the File menu commands on other Windows applications. We'll open a previously created file. The dialog box for opening files looks the same from application to application. Windows looks for files ending in the extension .wri and displays them in the list box. The opened file appears in the work area. As we can see, graphic pictures can also be placed into Write's documents. To select another printer for printing Write documents, use the Change Printer command from the File menu. The Repaginate command divides the document into pages, displaying 2 small arrows at the end of each page. This way, we can see where pages end before printing. Many commands on the Edit menu also appear in other Windows applications. The Undo command reverses the last action. We've seen how cut, copy, and paste work. Notice paste is dark because there is text in the clipboard. Let's select Paste, and the text copied earlier from the Notepad is placed on the screen. The pasted data is placed at the cursor, pushing the text down. The Move Picture command moves a picture horizontally on a page. We can use the mouse or the left and right arrow keys to move the picture. The Size Picture command sizes the picture, again using the mouse or arrow keys. The first three search menu commands let us search for text, change it to something else if specified, and then continue searching for more occurrences of the text. The Go to Page command goes directly to the specified page in a document. We haven't seen the Character menu before. This menu lists commands for changing the appearance of the text characters. Normal is the default character style. Bold, italic, underline, superscript, and subscript let us change the style of selected text. To apply a different style, just move the cursor in front of the words to be altered. Hold down the Shift key and press the right arrow key to select the text. With a mouse, just simply click before the word and drag across to select the text. Now, go up to the Character menu and click on Bold and Italic. The text is redrawn on the screen in bold, italicized type. The last three groups of commands are for fonts. Font refers to the style and size of type. The fonts available depend on the type of printer installed. The names of three fonts appear on the menu. The check beside Helvetica indicates it is the current font. To change the font, select the text and click on the new font name. If your printer offers more than three fonts, click on the Fonts command to see the rest of the fonts available. Selecting one of these fonts will move it to the Character menu. Most fonts have at least two sizes. The heading is still selected. Click on Enlarge Font to increase the font size. The Paragraph menu lets us change the format or look of a selected paragraph. The checks indicate the default paragraph format: left, aligned, and single-spaced. Left aligned means the text is lined up evenly on the left margin. We'll center the heading by selecting the text and clicking on the Centered command. The Right command moves the selected text to line up on the right margin. We'll select the body of the text. Using the down arrow key highlights a whole line at a time instead of one character. Now, click on Justified, and the text margins are even on both sides. Let's also change the spacing of the body text. The paragraphs are still selected, so we'll click on the Double Space command. Use the Indents command to indent a whole paragraph from the left or right margin, or just to indent the first line. The last menu is the Document menu. The Header command puts a line of text, such as a chapter title, at the top of each page of a document. The Header command takes us to a blank screen where we enter the header text and determine the distance from the top of the page where the header will be placed. To add page numbers, just click on the Insert Page Numbers button. The correct page number will appear when printed. Click on the Print on First Page button to print the header on the first page. Return to Document takes us back to the text file. Headers and footers don't appear on the screen, but they'll be there when the document is printed. Footers are a line of text at the bottom of every page. Footers are created on a separate screen, just like headers. The Ruler On command displays a ruler at the top of the window. If you're using a mouse, the icons across the top can set tab stops and adjust the line spacing and alignment of the selected paragraphs. To return the body text to single spacing, we'll select the text and click on the icon depicting single-spaced text. To set a tab stop, click on the first arrow icon. Then, click on the position in the ruler bar. The second arrow icon contains a decimal point to indicate it sets a decimal-aligned tab stop. The Ruler command now reads Ruler Off. Select it again to remove the ruler from the window. If you aren't using a mouse, the Tabs command lets you set up tab stops. The Page Layout command lets us change the margin settings and the page numbering. Unless specified otherwise, Write starts numbering pages with page 1. We'll be returning to Write soon, so let's click on the down arrow sizing icon to minimize this window. In Chapter 8, we'll look at the Microsoft Paint application and merging text and graphics. If you've never worked with a graphics program before, you'll be amazed at all the great-looking graphics that can be created with Microsoft Paint. Graphics are created on an electronic canvas using electronic screen tools like the paintbrush, pencil, and eraser. Microsoft Paint can be operated with a keyboard, but drawing and designing graphics is much easier with a mouse. It's almost like using a real pencil or paintbrush. Double-click on Paint.exe and the Paint window opens. The Paint work area is divided into the Canvas, which is the drawing area, and the Toolbox. The 2 rows of boxes are the tools and shapes for drawing graphics. To choose a tool, simply click on a tool icon. To choose a tool with the keyboard, press the Tab key to move through the tool icons. The 4 boxes in the upper left are the current status boxes. The current or highlighted tool is the pencil. The next boxes indicate the current paint pattern, brush size, and line width. Many of the electronic tools are recognizable. The pencil is used for sketching. It moves much like an ordinary pencil. To begin drawing, move the pencil into the work area and place it where you want to start drawing. Then, press and hold the mouse button as we draw with the pencil. If you're drawing graphics using a keyboard, move the tool into the work area using the arrow keys, and then hold down the space bar while using the arrow keys to draw the line. Next to the pencil is the line tool. The line tool draws straight lines. The width of the line can be changed by clicking on the Line Widths command in the Palette menu. We'll click on the thickest line. Notice the current status box displays the new, thicker line width. Any lines drawn now will appear in the new line width. The Curve tool creates curved lines. First, draw a straight line, and then click and pull on the line to curve it. Curved lines also use the current line width. The paintbrush paints a freehand brushstroke for creating many effects. The brush shape can be altered using the Brush Shapes command in the Palette menu. The paintbrush also paints a solid or in a pattern. Click on the Patterns option in the Palette menu to see the 36 different patterns available. Only lines and brush strokes created after the changes appear in the new patterns and widths. Previously drawn graphics remain the same. The airbrush creates a spray-painted look with the current pattern. If your lines seem to skip, leaving holes in the design, try moving the mouse slower. To erase mistakes, use the Eraser tool. Move to the parts to be removed and press the mouse key to erase. Careful though, the eraser will remove whatever it touches. To select sections of the graphics, use the Selection tool. Move to the top left corner of the part to be selected, and while pressing the mouse key, draw a dotted box around the area. To erase this selected area, click on the Clear command in the Edit menu, and it's gone. The Selection net selects non-rectangular shapes. Draw around the shape while holding the mouse key to select it. The selected area is reversed or highlighted. We can use these shapes to generate graphics. The bottom row draws the same shapes but fills them in with the current pattern. Let's click on the bottom rectangle icon. Again, move the tool into the work area and position for the top left corner of the rectangle. Hold the mouse button and drag it down and to the right to draw the shape. You can draw rectangles, squares, rounded rectangles, circles, and ovals. This shape is called the freehand polygon. You can draw an open shape, and then when the mouse button is released, Paint draws a straight line to close it. This is the polygon. It's for drawing shapes with straight sides. Just click with the mouse button or spacebar to mark corners, and Paint draws the sides. Use the 3D tool to display an axis to aid in designing three-dimensional graphic shapes. We can easily convert this rectangle into a 3D rectangle. We can fill shapes with the Fill tool, which looks like a paint bucket. Move the bucket inside the shape and click, and the shape is filled with the current paint pattern. The big T is the Text tool. Adding text to a graphic is easy. Just click where you want the text to begin and start typing. The Scroll tool lets you move the canvas around in the work area. The canvas actually is much larger than what we're seeing now. Click on the Zoom Out command in the Options menu to see how big it is. The current drawing area is outlined. We can move this up and down to go to another part of the canvas. We can draw with the tools in this full view. Click on Zoom In to return to normal size. In addition to these tools, there are many menu commands to further create and edit graphics. The File menu selects a new canvas, opens an existing graphic file, and prints the graphics. The Undo command on the Edit menu cancels the most recent drawing or editing action. The Erase command erases the entire canvas. We can cut, copy, and paste graphics just as we've done with text in other applications. The Clear command deletes an area selected with the Selection tool or Selection Net. The last group of commands are Special Effects commands. First, we need to select the graphic or shape to be manipulated. Clicking on the Invert command reverses the color of the selected area, turning black to white and white to black. Trace Edges draws a slightly enlarged outline around selected text and shapes. Flip Horizontal flips the selected object from side to side, and Flip Vertical flips the selected object from top to bottom. This feature is useful when drawing objects with matching but inverted elements, like butterfly wings. The Character menu lets us use different fonts while designing with type. Just select the new font, click on the Text tool, and start typing. The font can be changed after text has already been entered, if the insertion cursor is still on screen. The Size menu specifies the size of the text. The available fonts are in black. Many of the commands in the Style menu also appeared in the Microsoft Write application. Outline produces an outline of the text characters, and Strikeout adds a line through the text. Aligning text is a little different in the Paint program. Left aligned is the default. The text begins at the insertion line. Using the Centered command centers the text over the original position of the insertion line. Right aligned places the text to the right of the insertion line. Use the Opaque and Transparent commands when text is placed over graphics. Opaque puts a white background under text, covering up the underlying graphic. Transparent enters the text without the background, so the graphic is visible in between the text characters. We've already seen many functions of the Palette menu. The Patterns command selects a paint pattern. The Line Widths command offers a choice of line widths. The Brush Shapes command chooses a brush shape for the Paintbrush tool. The Tools command brings up another box of the electronic screen tools. The first two commands of the Options menu, Zoom In and Zoom Out, change the screen view so you can get close up when designing graphics. To zoom in, click in the area to be magnified and select the Zoom In command. This view is great for editing intricate graphics. The Zoom Out command returns the screen to normal view. Selecting Zoom Out from the normal view takes us to a view of the entire canvas. The Grid commands put an invisible grid of horizontal and vertical lines on the canvas for lining up design shapes and other elements. With a grid selected, shapes move across the grid lines. They can't be positioned in between grid points. The ability to line up shapes exactly is a great feature when designing charts. Use the Edit Pattern command to design your own unique paint pattern. The For Printer command displays the images created as they will look when printed. The For Screen command puts no printing restrictions on the graphics drawn. If your graphic will be printed, it's best to choose the For Printer command to see on the screen how the graphic will look when printed. This setting must be established before creating the graphic. Graphics that are specified for printing can use either the Low Resolution command for simple drawings without a lot of detail, or the High Resolution command for detailed drawings. Let's open a file containing a bar chart and place it in Microsoft Write. Paint file extensions are .msp for Microsoft Paint. This chart used the rectangle shape tool for drawing the underlying frame and graph bars. Different paint patterns were used to fill the bars, and the text tool was used for entering the text characters. We'll need the selection tool to select the chart. Now, click on Cut from the Edit menu, and the graphic is cut and placed on the clipboard. Earlier, we had minimized the Microsoft Write window to keep it within reach. Double-click on the icon and restore the window. The memo is still there also. Now, position the insertion point exactly where you want the chart to appear. Choose Paste from the Edit menu, and the chart is pasted into the memo. You can resize and move the chart as necessary. From the File menu, select Save As and name this file Salesman. Write adds the .wri extension automatically. Now double-click on the control menu icon of Write and Paint to quickly close both windows. In Chapter 9, we'll look at customizing windows using the Control Panel application and the WIN.INI file. The Control Panel menu commands let you modify certain aspects of Windows to better suit your individual needs. The Control Panel alters the WIN.INI file. The WIN.INI, or Windows Initialization file, contains information that determines how Windows configures or operates. When you first start Windows, it reads the WIN.INI file and configures itself according to what it finds there. The changes made through the Control Panel are added to the WIN.INI file. To open the Control Panel window, double-click on Control.exe in the MS-DOS executive listing. To change the time, simply click on the hour, minute, or second setting. Up and down arrows appear in the box. Click on the up arrow to advance the clock and the down arrow to set it back. To change the clock with the keyboard, press the right arrow key to highlight the setting. Then use the up and down arrow keys to set the time. Changing the date is exactly like changing the time. If you're using the keyboard, you'll need to press the Tab key to move to the next box. We can make the cursor blink faster or slower by clicking and dragging the scroll box one way or the other. With the keyboard, press the Tab key to highlight the scroll box and then move it with the left and right arrow keys. The double-click box lets us modify how quickly we have to double-click the mouse button in order for Windows to recognize it as a double-click. After adjusting the speed with the scroll box, we can double-click on the test box to verify our choice. The menus offer additional commands for modifying Windows. The Installation menu lets us add and delete printers and fonts. The Add New Printer command displays a dialog box asking for the printer driver file of the printer to be added. The Utilities installation disk contains driver files for many popular printers. The Delete Printer command removes the printer from the list of available printers. The steps for adding new fonts are similar to adding a new printer. Insert the appropriate disk with the font file. Select the file and click on the Add button. Use the Delete fonts to remove unwanted font files from the disk. And as we've seen with every other window, the Exit command closes the Control Panel. In the Setup menu, you can modify certain settings for your computer system. The Connections menu displays a listing of current printers and their ports. To change or assign printer ports, highlight the printer name and click on the correct port in the connection box. The Printer command lists the available printers. If more than one printer has been installed for use with Windows, the default printer will be highlighted. Printing will be done with this printer unless otherwise specified. To change the default printer, use the mouse or arrow keys to highlight another printer and click OK. This brings up another dialog box with printing specifications. We can enter the number of copies to be printed and the paper size. Orientation determines whether a page is printed vertically or horizontally. Graphics resolution is the quality of printing. This depends on the printer and your printing needs. The selected printer is highlighted with its memory and any font cartridges displayed in the next two boxes. The Communications command configures the setup for a modem. As you saw earlier, this can also be done in the Terminal application. In the Preferences menu, you can alter the screen colors. The dialog box lists the 13 screen elements of the Windows display that can be changed. Use the scroll bars to change the hue, brightness, and color of the highlighted screen element. The sample window shows the result of color changes. To return to the colors you had when this box was first opened, click on Reset. When the colors are set just right, click OK to save the changes. The default width of the gray borders around each window is 5 pixels. Since these borders let you resize and move the windows, Windows lets you change the widths of the borders to any value from 1 to 30 pixels. A good example would be increasing the border width so it's easier to grab with the mouse pointer. The warning beep is like an on and off switch. If a check appears next to the command, a warning beep sounds when a keystroke or command is entered that the program can't do. To turn off any beeping, click on the command to remove the check mark. The mouse command lets you reverse the active mouse button. This way, all actions normally done with the left mouse button are done with the right. The second choice controls how fast the pointer moves on the screen in response to the mouse. Medium is the default. Keyboard speed determines the speed of an action executed by the keyboard. For example, how fast a backspace key will delete characters. The Country Settings command contains certain settings that change from country to country. During installation, Windows asked what country the program would be used in. The appropriate date and time format, currency symbol, and use of decimal points and commas were entered. To make changes, just select a new country and all the settings will automatically adjust. As mentioned, changes made using the control panel result in changes made in the WIN.INI file. We can inspect the WIN.INI file by double-clicking on the file name in the MS-DOS executive window. The WIN.INI file opens in the Notepad window. From here it can be read and edited just as you would a letter or memo. Notice that many of the lines begin with a semicolon. These are comment lines to provide information about the WIN.INI file. Windows ignores the comment lines, reading only the lines that don't start with a semicolon. These are keyword lines. The lines are divided into sections beginning with a bracketed word. The keyword lines can be edited to enact certain changes in Windows configuration system. After editing, use the Save command to accept the changes. The changes will take effect the next time Windows is started. We didn't make any changes, so we'll close the Notepad application to return to MS-DOS Executive. In this final chapter, we'll look at running standard applications under Windows. There are many advantages to running standard applications under Windows. First, under Windows Virtual Memory System, the hard disk becomes an extension of the computer's RAM or random access memory. Simply put, this means Windows provides access to more of your computer's memory. Second, Windows is still in the memory when a standard application is running. giving us the ability to switch back and forth between the standard applications and Windows applications. Finally, standard and Windows applications can exchange information using the clipboard. Before Windows can run a standard application, it needs to know a few things about that application. This information is stored in a Program Information File, or PIF file. To create a PIF, double-click on the pifedit.exe file name in MS-DOS Executive. The PIF editor window opens ready for information. PIFs for many popular standard applications have already been created and saved in Windows. To view these files, click Open on the File menu. The program information files are stored in the PIF subdirectory. These files contain information about specific standard applications. We can scroll through the list to see all the built-in PIFs supplied with Windows. Let's click on Works.pif. The editor dialog box fills with the information to run the integrated software program Microsoft Works. The top line displays the file name that runs the program. The second line, the program title. The initial directory is the drive and directory where the program files are stored. We'll enter C:\works to tell Windows where to find the Microsoft Works program files. Before a standard application can be run under Windows, you need to open the PIF file and enter the drive and directory of the standard application's program files. For standard applications that don't have a built-in PIF file, refer to your software manual for program and memory information. Then, enter the information into the PIF editor window and save it. The next section is about the memory requirements of the standard application. To run a program under Windows, a small amount of memory must be reserved by Windows. This enables Windows to appear on the screen when the standard application is closed. Because of this, standard applications requiring a lot of memory may not be able to run under Windows. A message will appear indicating there is not enough memory to run the program. The screen exchange lets us specify the type of information that will be exchanged through the clipboard. We'll select Save to save the changes made. We'll also close the PIF editor window to free up some more memory. After restoring MS-DOS Executive, double-click on the PIF subdirectory. This is where the PIFs are stored. Okay, here's Works.pif. We can just simply double-click on the file and Windows opens up the standard application, Microsoft Works. Once on screen, Microsoft Works looks and operates the same as always, but with the extra benefit of returning to Windows when the program is exited. Now, we can switch applications with a couple of key strokes. Now that you've been introduced to the world of Windows, you're ready to start applying that knowledge and operate Windows. Well, now we've looked at Windows. From the clock to the paint application, Windows has a variety of applications to fill many needs. And now that you're acquainted with Windows, operating other new Windows applications will be even easier. You know, Windows is the beginning of a new type of software that uses a graphic environment that gives you consistent, easy-to-learn commands and the ability to operate multiple applications simultaneously. I know you'll have fun working with Windows. Thanks for joining me. Good luck.